Alright guys, so we have a very perplexing set of photographs coming to us out of Argentina, which very well may prove once again that it's not just video and photos of strange unidentified objects in the sky that could be anything and everything. But in cases like this, and others that I've documented countless times on the channel and that I'm going to show you some other images of here in a minute, we have numerous instances where these unidentified objects will leave an astounding display of physical evidence pointing directly to said visitation and existence. And one of the biggest pieces of physical evidence that can be left by these things are, as many of you would probably expect, the effect that these things have on the ground below when they get close to it. And so we have two separate images here out of Mocaje, Argentina, where on or around October 15th, a man came outside to discover these two distinct imprints that almost appeared as if they had been burned into the snow around them, and with no footprints either leading to or from these massive physical anomalies. So according to the report here, a youth from this area went out on his motorcycle to ride through a seldom transited area along Route 117 and found what you're seeing here in the snow. He said, quote, "Their size and perfection were striking. I'd never seen anything like them." The young man by the name of Rodrigo then said that he left and alerted his family, and they returned to the site to take photographs and inspect the designs, saying further, quote, "I was surprised that there were no footprints nearby. This is an area that is rarely visited. The ground marks were found on Route 11 heading toward Norquinco, in an area that remains closed in winter and only recently reopened in the spring, and where patches of snow often remain, and that is where these marks were found." Other local residents also said that the designs were similar in their size and perfection to others that had been discovered in the past over a mile away. And so let's just go over these images here. So the first I want to discuss is this very strange sort of six-sided star here. And both of these, again, appear to be burned into the ground, where you can see the singed black earth surrounded by the melted snow. And very, very strange shape. Then we have this other photograph, which is much similar to the UFO landing markings of old, where you will have sort of this ring pattern with multiple rings inside of it. Appears to be singed into the ground, melting snow in certain areas, and at the very center of this multi-ringed circle, we have a totally jet black burnt earth. And again, according to the witnesses, no footprints leading to or from. Furthermore, again, this isn't just something where you're taking a shovel or some sort of tool to flatten the snow. This has been singed, and it perfectly correlates with some of the most damning UFO cases in history. Off the top of my head, the very first one I think about when I see these images is probably physical evidence-wise, at least in terms of these markings being left on the ground, I would have to say would be the Delphos UFO incident that occurred in the small town of Delphos, Kansas back in 1971. The case has never been debunked and is considered to be one of the very best physical trace cases involving a UFO landing. And so just a quick rundown of what happened there while I show you these images taken from the actual landing in 1971, where on the day it happened, a 16-year-old boy by the name Ron Johnson, along with his dog, was tending the family's sheep out on their farm when his attention was suddenly drawn to a mushroom-shaped UFO appearing in the night sky. The flying object appeared to be metallic, with multicolored lights, and was hovering approximately 75 feet away from him among some of the trees. The boy estimated the craft was only a few feet above the ground and that its diameter was probably around 6 to 8 feet. The boy tried to get closer, but the craft was so bright that it hampered his ability to see any true details. But he did say that the object was making a loud sound like, quote, an old washing machine that vibrated, The bottom of the object began to glow extremely bright as it began to rise up into the sky. Soon after, the mother and father came running out, also seeing the bright glowing object now even farther and higher up in the sky. And afterwards, the three of the Johnson family were shocked to see a glowing ring of light on the ground in the grass, right below where the craft had hovered. And they said that there was also some of this glowing material on some of the trees nearby. The family later stated that the ground around this glowing light felt strange, as if the soil had been crystallized. And as you're seeing these different images here, this ring stayed there, and it actually glowed for multiple days before finally you could just see the damage to the ground itself. And even over a month later, after a new snowfall, they found that the snow and the ice had melted both inside and outside of the ring, with investigators later noting after some experimentation that after pouring water on the exposed part of the ring, the soil would actually not allow the water to pass through. So, I mean, it's an amazing case, physical evidence-wise. And most of these rings that you will see all over, from Mexico to Germany, and I'm showing you those images here, appear very similar to what we're seeing in these newer images as well in the snow, specifically the circular one. Now, I can't account for the six-sided star here. So, your guess is as good as mine. But what we do have in most cases where it's been photographed are these circular indentations, many times burn marks into the ground, where not only will the grass and the earth around it be singed down, but experiments have later shown there to be heavy amounts of radiation. And we've seen it in grass, we've seen it in snow, cornfields, cane fields. These long-lasting imprints from something very hot, something that puts out an amazing degree of energy. I'm certainly seeing hallmarks. I would love to see if they could get someone out there to test for radiation and get some more up-close video footage. So I'm going to look further into that, but possible further evidence in Argentina of more landings, or at least things that are coming very close to the ground. In some cases, again, they're so hot, they don't even have to be near the ground. That's how much energy some of these things put out. Again, you can look into the Betty and Barney Hill case, or the Cash Landrum incident, where again, this time in 1980, multiple witnesses driving down a quiet road were stopped in their tracks by a massive glowing diamond-shaped craft that was so hot, in fact, that not only did it start melting their dashboard and the metal in the hood of their car, but it also caused many burn marks on the witnesses. As you guys are seeing in these images here, I've done a full video on the Cash Landrum incident, and the link to which I'll put down below if you haven't seen that or if you want to know more. So these cases are plentiful, and there's a massive amount of physical evidence. Do not let anyone tell you that the UFO phenomena is nothing but videos of blurry things in the skies. Far from it, folks. There is much more physical evidence than you can imagine. All you have to do is look for it. And if you don't want to look for it, well, just follow Secure Team and watch some of the past videos I've done on this subject. So, again, thank you guys for stopping by. Very interesting images. Tell me what you think down below. As always, stay tuned, subscribe, and I will see you all back in just a bit.